Good afternoon, good people. This is the Mastermind Millennial. My name's EJ, and today we have to talk about, or at least I want to talk about, the revelations from Lifetime's new series titled Surviving R. Kelly. Lifetime was promoting this a lot before it aired, and for good reason. It's good TV, entertaining. Now, I'm not saying that what these ladies went through and the things that are revealed are entertaining. What I'm saying is that it captivates you and makes you want to watch more. About 3 episodes through, I had enough. Not that I couldn't take all the emotional crying and all that stuff. It's just that I was really getting pissed off. Because one, here R. Kelly is a predator preying on young, impressionable ladies. And then he has a crew of people doing his bidding, and they're all creating this system to groom these young ladies for sex acts, and all of these women are underage. And then the icing on the cake is there were adults and parents that would send their children into this world. I just had enough. I feel super bad for these young ladies who had to go through this, because I felt like they were, not only were they taken advantage of, they were like essentially thrown to a wolf. And I'm going to assume that at the time, the parents that allowed their underage children to go with a grown man on tour, on a tour bus, for whatever reason, had full faith and confidence that their children were going to be okay without their supervision. Now, maybe in hindsight that sounds ridiculous. And maybe at the time, it sounded good. Because, you know, you have this musical artist who's a genius, inspirational, now let's put this into context. R. Kelly's music has always been provocative and very sexual. But at the same time, R. Kelly has given us a lot of inspirational music. And so maybe it is hard to reconcile how someone who can be so inspirational can also be a predator. But when you look at his music, it's very sexual. It should have nothing to do with children. I remember the R. Kelly and Aaliyah, issue, conspiracy, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't right then, and it's not right now. And one example of the level of complicity of the people around R. Kelly was this older gentleman that appeared to be close to R. Kelly and Aaliyah, and he said he was talking about a situation when he was walking down the street with them, in the back of his mind just saying, this is not right. But the sad part is that moment that he had in his conscience, that moment of morality, didn't really translate to him standing up to doing what's right, because later on he admits to falsifying documents to allow a 27-year-old R. Kelly to marry a 15-year-old Aaliyah. Now that's just wrong. I don't care, they're just wrong. Shame on R. Kelly, shame on his crew, and I'm sorry to say, shame on the parents. I do not blame the young ladies, because they're victims. They were thrown to the wolves. No one took care of them. You can't blame the child. You cannot blame the child, because an adult is supposed to protect the child. Let's not get it twisted, people. There are evil people out there. There are people that prey on children. Men and women prey on children. So it's our responsibility to protect our children. And so before I end, I want to share 2 things with you. There is a department under the Justice Department, or an office under the Justice Department called National Sex Offender Public Website. The acronym is NSOPW. This is a database that has information on sexual predators registered in all 50 states. That information is fed into this database, and you can do a search on this national database. I recommend also doing a local search, because your local statistics are probably more up to date than a national database. But this is a good place to start. To get a picture of your local situation, you got to go to your local sources, alright? The other good thing about the NSOPW website, it has a good page with a lot of information on how to talk to your children about sexual issues of a sexual nature, about sexual assault, rape, and offenders. It also has information on how to train your children to have boundaries, to watch out for predatory behavior. It's a lot of good information. If you want to have this conversation with your child and you don't think you can articulate it well, do your research on the NSOPW website. Write on the narrative if you have to, and then sit down with your child and show them how much you care by giving them boundaries, left and right limits, and let them know that you care and that they are not alone. The other piece of information I want to share is an organization called RAINN. The acronym is RAINN. It stands for Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network. It's an American nonprofit, and it deals and highlights issues against sexual assault across the board, and it has a lot of information on child abuse, child sexual abuse statistics. I'm just going to read a few just so you can grasp the scope of the situation, not to scare you, but to let you know that it is a problem, and here is some numbers on the problem, and then you can think about those numbers and begin to put your resources together to inform your children so that you can protect your children. So according to RAINN, this is called the Children and Teen Statistics. Let me just go down. In fiscal year 16 alone, Child Protective Services substantiated or found strong evidence to indicate that 57,000 children were victims of sexual abuse. 34% of that number were under the age of 12. Precious, precious little children. 66% were between the ages of 12 and 17. All are minors. Now, I'm no psychologist, psychiatrist, counselor, but I know that if someone is sexually assaulted, I can only assume how horrible that would make them feel. Okay? No one wants to be taken advantage of. No one wants to be overpowered and assaulted. It's just demeaning, demoralizing, and it's traumatic. And we don't want this to happen to our children. So it's up to us adults to do this, to protect our children. Men, fathers, husbands, it's up to you to protect your children and your woman. Don't leave it up to the state or anybody else. You protect your family, alright? Because if you love your family, they'll love you back, and you all will live a very happy and fulfilled life. I'm going to read a few more stats, and then I'll get out of your ear. Here's another statistic that really surprised me. According to RAINN, perpetrators of child sex abuse are often related to the victim. 93% are known to the victim. The good thing about RAINN is that they get a lot of their stats from the Department of Justice, from the FBI, and a lot of government sources. 59% of that 93 are acquaintances, 34 are family members, and 7 are strangers. Now here is the stat that really got my attention. According to Child Protective Services, of about 60,000, out of the yearly 63,000 sexual abuse cases substantiated, 80% of the perpetrators were parents. I did not see that coming. That's a problem. 6% were relatives, and 5% were either siblings or maybe siblings to strangers. The unique thing about that 80% and 6% is that it is so close to the child, so close to the family. And I've heard stories of people going through sexual trauma and the family just sweeping it under the rug. Just like the TSA says, if you see something, please say something. Our children are worth it, alright? That's all I have. You can go to the RAINN website and check out the stats for yourself. I recommend you go to the, let me get the acronym correct, the NSOPW website, if only to get a grasp on how to talk to your child about things of a sexual nature and sexual assault. It's important. What is most revealing about the Surviving R. Kelly documentary, to me, is the lack of care and empathy towards very young, impressionable women. Okay? I do not blame these young ladies. They are victims. They were victimized, and people let it happen. Shame on those people. Shame on R. Kelly. I don't know what's going to happen to his career. It doesn't matter at this point. But what we should do is take this opportunity to teach our children to to be aware that there are evil people out there that want to do harm to them. And if we could put boundaries in our children, if we can train them, we can mitigate the potential for them to be victimized. The last thing is this. There's a wonderful scripture in the book of Matthew. Matthew chapter 18 verse 10. The English Standard Version says, "See that you do not despise one of these little ones. For I tell you that in heaven their angels always see the face of my Father who is in heaven." Whether or not people think this is proof that we all have guardian angels, I hope we do. I hope I have more than one. This scripture indicates that our Father in heaven has a special place or has affinity for children. And so should we. Children are precious. They have potential to do great things and have the potential to significantly change the world. Let us cherish our children by protecting them, informing them, and preparing them for a world that may not always look out for their best interests, which is why we're here. So until we meet again, look, take this serious. You know, you beat R. Kelly up if you want to. I recommend you to protect your children and you inform them. So this is the Mastermind Millennial signing out. Till next time, have a great day.